The owner of a Wellington office block demolished after November's earthquake has an appointment with the Tenancy Tribunal after an investigation found he'd unlawfully rented parts of the building to residential tenants. Prime Property Group owns 61 Molesworth Street and last year rented part of the first floor to Olive and Ernest Mape and their 2 children for $300 a week. The Ministry of Business, Innovation and Employment found a kitchen and office cubicles were being used as bedrooms, a toilet was through a fire exit and the family was forced to use a shower on the ground floor of the building. MB has made an application to the Tenancy Tribunal for Prime Property to repay the family's rent along with some damages. A short time ago I asked Eyal Aharoni if he thought his behaviour as a landlord was good enough.
I don't think it was unsatisfactory. The mum and dad, the Mape family, have seen the place and decided to rent it. It was a very spacious apartment. It wasn't cubicle, it was simply an apartment.
It wasn't an apartment, Eyal, it wasn't an apartment, it was an office.
John, it was an office that has been used as an apartment, but
it was an office in which people were sleeping. That doesn't make it an apartment.
John, it's best that you let me talk. You know, that's a bit hard to say what I want to say if you don't let me talk. But it was an office space that had been used as an apartment, but the family that moved in knew exactly what it was before they moved in and wanted to stay there. In fact, they sent us a letter after being there for 3 or 4 months that they would like to stay there for as long as possible. We have that in writing. It's up to them to decide whether it's satisfactory or not. You know, the rent was very modest. And I think that the situation was highly exaggerated. MB's statement, MB's slogan says, it's all about warm, dry, safer homes. It'd be hard-pressed to find a more warmer, drier, safer home that place in 61 Molesworth Street.
Eyal, forgive me, but it was so unsafe that after the earthquake it had to be demolished. They had no insurance coverage, so they lost all of their possessions. I mean, you are not suggesting this is a shining exemplar of rental accommodation, are you?
John, the place was very safe. First of all, it was sprinkled building. Most of the accidents in residential accommodation are caused by fire, and there was never, ever any casualty, any deaths in a sprinkled building. So in terms of fire, it was very safe. Although the place suffered during the earthquake, so did a number of other buildings, like the defense headquarters that needs to be demolished, was a very supposedly very sound building, but has suffered. So it wasn't an unsafe place. It was not registered as earthquake prone. And I think the situation has been highly exaggerated, John. I just want to say...
Hold on, what am I exaggerating? Did Oliver, Ernest and their 2 children lose everything they owned by being unable to return to the building and you having no insurance coverage for them? Am I exaggerating that, or is that a statement of fact?
No, this is a statement of fact. But first of all, you and the rest of the media have claimed that I had the building unlawfully full of residents. The situation was absolutely not that. We had 3 parties in the building. We had a sickness beneficiary who paid no rent living on level 4. We have 1 bankrupt businessman who paid no rent living on level 8. And we had the Mape family living on level 1. All of them are people that unfortunately, regretfully, we allowed them to live in the building, not because we wanted to make a profit, only because we just tried to help those people because they had nowhere to stay. I mean, just to give you, an idea, the holding costs of this building are $300,000 a year. The rent I recovered from the Mape family is $15,000 a year. So nobody was trying to create a huge profit out of illegal activity, as explained, by yourself and other people in the media. Now, we regret it. We obviously won't do it again. We won't allow people in need into our office building, even though sometimes it's hard to say no, because you've got a perfectly good empty office building that we're currently not using.
You may have to pay back the rent. There is an order against you for the rent paid by the tenant, the family, totaling over $6,000 to be repaid. Are you prepared to do that?
Well, if there is currently a court action against me, we will defend the court action. But if the judge decides that this is the outcome, we will comply with the court, of course.
Have you spoken to the family about how they are since the situation where they were required to leave the building urgently and they were unable to return to it to get their belongings and there was no insurance coverage to compensate them for that? Have you spoken to the family subsequently?
I have tried to make contact with the family. We've contacted them a number of times, tried to organize a meeting. They declined to have a meeting, and I suspect a little bit uncomfortable from the very inaccurate situation they presented to the media.
What was inaccurate about the situation they presented to the media? What was the thing that was most wrong that they described to the media?
Well, the situation that they portrayed, that we have forced them and they had no choice. They had no time to think about it. That's absolutely incorrect. We were just trying to help them. We offered them an apartment in a different location, which didn't work for them because of the situation with the school. Reluctantly, we said, look, we got their place. They moved in. They knew it's an office building. And we said, look, you can stay here temporarily. We only offered it to them for a very short period, hopefully for a few weeks until they find another place to go. And they quite comfortably decided to stay there. In fact, send us a letter. They want to stay there. I mean, John, just a minute. I mean, they told you and others in the media that they had no time to decide, and we forced them to make a decision within a day. So why would they send us a letter 2 to 3 months later that, please, we would like to stay there as long as possible? Isn't that a misrepresentation of the situation?
Well, they couldn't find anywhere else, could they? You were offering them another place, weren't you? You were offering...
Well, first of all, we have offered them another place.
How much was the rent on that other place?
The rent on the other place was $600 a week. And we have offered it to them. We have offered them twice a number of places, but of course they didn't want to move because they're paying, they're paying only $300 a week, including power, which is probably equivalent to $250 a week. You can't find a place at that rate in the city, because the city is currently, desperate for accommodation. I mean, I'm not sure if you've seen in the paper last week, one flat becoming available for rent. There's 40 people in the queue trying to rent it. The situation is desperate at the moment, and I'm actually, Mobi is prosecuting me to satisfy. Satisfy the media and the public relation whatever. But I would have thought that Mobi will be using their resources to investigate why do we have so many perfectly good empty office buildings, and why we have so many people living in warehouses, garages, and cars, and overpopulated houses. But this is the situation.
So are you saying that that people should be living in office buildings, empty office buildings?
Absolutely. Look, empty office buildings, which are sprinkled and are safe from a fire purpose and from an earthquake point of view, there's no reason why people shouldn't be living in them.
What about bathroom facilities, showers? What about cooking facilities?
Well, you have to provide. Of course, you have to provide bathroom, cooking, and shower facilities. No question about that. But that's not hard to provide.
Eyal Aharoni, the owner of the building which has subsequently been demolished.